Okay, so a few weeks ago I made a video about the Surface Duo and how I was very interested in the particular device, but I wasn't going to be picking one up because I was going to get a Note 20 Ultra. But that didn't really stop my curiosity and my interest. So fast forward a couple of weeks and I have a Note 20 Ultra. But in a really weird sequence of events, I also have a Duo. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this guy aside. I'm going to talk about this guy. So I've had it for a little over 24 hours now, and as you can tell, I've already got a skin on it because I really don't want to scratch or mess this thing up. But originally, I was going to make an unboxing video and like a setup kind of thing with my like initial impressions, but a few things went wrong. Well, the first thing was that my camera was all kinds of screwy. I didn't lock my exposure, didn't lock my focus, the brightness was all over the place, it wasn't good. And on top of that, the Duo didn't really behave well with some of the screen capturing software, as well as the Duo's software, which we'll get into. And the thing is, too, is that there's already a million reviews about this device, and there's already a million impressions video, so I wanted to do something a little different. Instead, I'm going to be doing a mini series, if you will, about this guy and asking and answering the question, did Microsoft fulfill its goal of creating a device that changes the way we think of mobile computing? And that's a very tall order, and that's a very broad question to ask. So what I'll be doing is I'll be making a video like I am today, talking about my initial impressions, and then talking about my experience 3 days from now, and then my experience 1 week from now, and then finally a 30-day review of sorts, if you will. Because I've heard a lot of people say that their opinions of this device has potentially changed with time, typically for the better, but not always. So I kind of want to talk about it. Today, though, is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I have a lot to start off with, right? Like I've used this device and I've dealt with all of the quirks, and I kind of just want to go over some of the things that I really enjoy and really dislike about this particular product and where I think it's going. Also, in future videos, please don't expect this poor quality. I just wanted something reliable because everything just went wrong when trying to record other stuff. Also, I plan on getting another skin because I actually don't like the matte black skin, which is very odd for me because I typically just slap matte black on everything and I'm usually okay with it. But this one, I think it's just the white/gray perimeter. I'll be getting a new skin shortly, and it's just going to be white on black on the inside, so it kind of flipped my usual color scheme here. But anywho, on to the actual product. The first thing we got to talk about is the hardware. Yes, you've heard it a million times. The thing is, if you're watched this video for whatever reason, you've probably already watched like 3 other Duo videos, and you've heard everybody praise the hardware. And I have to agree, it's fantastic. If you are the kind of person who has to get a feel for a device like I am, the moment this gets into your hand and the moment you first open the device and the first time you close it and you hear that, right? That like nice subtle shut, you're gonna be sold. Also, it's crazy thin. Like, I know people have said this, and I know that I've like done measurements and stuff, but people don't really understand how thin of a device this is. Like, look at this. This is a USB-C cable. That's remarkable. And it's this particular weight and this premium build quality that like really makes you not only appreciate the design and the fantastic hinge and all that, but when you're using it, you don't notice that this, and obviously like you hold it like a book, but like this particular device feels really good in the hand. Like, it feels lighter. This feels lighter than this, like by far. And that's kind of weird, right? Like, that's super weird. So the design is great. The like holding it and using it is great. For the people who complain about the bezels, originally I wasn't crazy about the bezels, but I don't really care when it comes to that type of stuff. Like, bezels are nice. They're nice to get rid of, right? Like, the Note 20 Ultra obviously has a beautiful, beautiful screen. But the thing about the bezels here is that, like, the side bezels, you kind of need them. These bezels, like the top and bottom ones, you really need them. And when you're using the device, you tend to forget about them. At least I did. And I can only speak from my experience throughout this entire video, but I really didn't notice or mind. And in fact, even like the bottom bezels especially, I find myself holding the Duo like this a lot, like using the hinge as kind of a thumb rest. And if there was a bezel, or if there wasn't a bezel there, then I don't know what I'd be gripping onto. Because this is, I'll tell you, this is damn comfy. So, the hardware overall, pretty great. There are a couple of quirks with the hardware that I feel like need to be discussed. First and foremost is the vibration motor. The vibration motor on this thing is trash. It is so bad. Like, maybe it's because I come from the world of, like of Pixels and iPhones and Samsung devices that have top grade A1 quality vibration motors. This one feels just as bad as my old Nexus 5 from like 2013. I kid you not. It does not feel good. And look, I understand that to fit a haptic engine in something this thin is not an easy task. And in fact, that's almost precisely why I can promise you that the vibration isn't good on here. However, because the device is so premium, because it's a glass sandwich, and it's got this like really fantastic feel in the hand, it's really off-putting to just feel a really chunky, hollow, and rattly vibrate. It just doesn't feel great. Even when like typing, which we'll get into the keyboard later, but even when typing, I actually found myself lowering the overall sensitivity of like the vibration to like I think it's like 2 or 3 milliseconds or something. It's not a good vibration motor at all. Other than that, the camera sucks. We all knew that. We've been knowing that. R/Surface Duo, I love you all. You guys are great, but the camera sucks. All right, just let it go. Every single decent photo you've ever seen taken on the Duo, you could take a better photo on a better phone with the same lighting conditions. It's the reality of it, and it's okay. You can admit it, and you can like it. Like, spoilers, I love this phone. I think this phone is fantastic, and I wasn't even planning on loving it. But the camera still sucks. Like, you can like a shitty movie and, own up to it and just, agree to disagree or just understand that it's okay to like something bad sometimes. I love the Duo. The camera's bad, all right? It's bad. Even the Gcam mod that people have installed on here, it is super wonky. I've tried it. The photo quality isn't even that much better. It pops a little bit more, but it's not a good camera. It doesn't matter how you spin it. And look, again, I get it. It's really tough to fit a camera inside of something this thin. I understand. It's still a bad camera. Moving on. The speakers also. There's only one place where the speakers actually are located, and it's this little grill area up top. There's like a tiny little indent, and it's a mono speaker essentially, and it's quite literally the only place where sound comes out of. And a lot of YouTubers were saying that it was very quiet, and it's not that quiet. Like, I was expecting it to be. There was a YouTube reviewer that said it was like 50% of its like 50% of like a normal phone's volume is at this thing at max, and that's not necessarily true. But keep in mind, I'm also the type of guy who only plays audio directly from his phone, maybe when I'm walking around the house and I'm, I've got a YouTube video in the background, or I'm listening to a podcast or something, and I'm like cooking. I don't really use my phone speaker that much, but I can totally get why somebody who does use that speaker a lot would be disappointed. But it's serviceable. If you're going to show a friend a YouTube video, it gets the job done. Whatever. So that's pretty much everything in the hardware. In regards to the software, this is where things get interesting. Okay, I know that YouTube reviewers had pre-release software. I know that the initial experience was rough, and the current update that was applied fixed a lot of issues, but not everything. Also, keep in mind that I am a software developer. That's my day job is literally to design applications and software for computer automation. I also create apps for freelance work, and also I design games as a hobby. I'm very tolerant of bugs and of issues with software. That being said, this is by and far the worst software experience I've had on a premium device, and it's your mileage may vary. Some people on Reddit have said that they've never experienced any issues whatsoever, and that's great for them. I, however, have had to restart this thing 8 individual times, not including the original reboot that I had to do during the software update. But I had to restart my device because one screen would lock up entirely and prevent me from using it in any way, shape, or form. I've had instances where my back button just stops working and I can't even swipe home, so I'm locked into the screen that I'm in, and I can't get into my settings. And before anyone even says anything, yes, I've gone to developer settings. Yes, I've disabled double tap for gestures, and I've looked at the animation scale. I don't really want to change it. I have looked at 3-button versus gesture navigation. I understand when things are trying to span. When I get it, all right, I totally get it. That, with all of that being said, the software experience is still rough. But for some reason, I still love it. And that's the weird, compelling part. There wasn't a moment where the software experience took me completely out of the Duo's vision. That being said, it's still rough. If you're looking at this like a normal day-to-day phone, you're probably going to be pissed. If this is, something that like you're replacing your daily driver and you don't have another $1,300 flagship sitting on your desk over here, like, you're going to be upset and you're going to be annoyed because it does take you out of that like flow aha state that Panos Panay always talks about. It's annoying, and obviously, yes, it can be fixed, and it probably will be fixed, but in its current state, you have to take it for what it is. And again, if you view it as a phone, as a daily driver, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you're someone like me, and you're viewing this as kind of like a learning, experimental phase things, and you're willing to tolerate that kind of stuff, it's totally fine. It's usable. I think I get why people are returning them, but at the same time, if you're an enthusiast and you want to try something different, you're probably willing to put up with some of the issues that arise. And that's just kind of how it is. On the note of the software, there are a couple of things that I found just don't work as intended or are missing features. And the first thing we got to talk about is the Microsoft launcher. I've used the Microsoft launcher. And in fact, like, I use it as a primary on my other devices. So this is like my normal day-to-day launcher that I use in other devices. The thing is on the Duo, for whatever reason, it is not a featureless, but it's a gimped version of the Microsoft launcher. There's a ton of missing features, like you can't change the color of your themes, you can't add grids or subgrids, you're not able to hide apps. There's a couple of other missing widgets on here, and unfortunately the screen time widget that I love using is not available on here, which is upsetting. And it's a little annoying. It's not the end of the world, but it's just one of those things where you can't help but wonder why those features weren't added in, especially given that this is Microsoft's own launcher that was adapted to Android. It's a little confusing, but that's not totally fine, but it's fair. And I get it, like, Microsoft has other things to worry about, and obviously the software does feel underprepared, so maybe that there were just some things in the launcher that they decided that they could work on later in the future. But what gets really annoying is this. Oh, actually, there's another annoying thing about the Microsoft launcher, is that when you swipe down, you get this search bar. I would love the option to disable that, because in the normal version of the Microsoft launcher, you can disable that, and then you can have it go to notifications. You have to go from the top down to get to your notifications, which is really annoying, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, this is a big phone. Even if you put it in one hand mode, there's no way in hell that you're going to get all the way across the screen. Now, you can kind of do the phone shimmy and get up to the top if this thing wants to rotate, but it's not a one-handed phone in any way, shape, or form. And this is coming from a guy who comes from the Note 20 Ultra. Like, I can at least get to the other side of my phone on this guy. There's no chance on this one that it's going to happen. But that being said, this is actually, funny enough, like, it's more comfortable to put into a pocket because it's not as tall. It doesn't dig into your sides, which is great. Unfortunately, ladies, if you're watching this, it's probably going to be harder to fit this in your pocket because it's a fat device. It's the size of a passport with like a leather cover. That's the best way I can describe it. I don't know where all my passports on my other desk. I'm not going to get it. But Microsoft, give me the options back in my launcher. I really don't want to have to do this. Just let me swipe down for wherever. At least give me the option. The other part, though, that also annoyed me is the keyboard. So the thing about the keyboard is if I were to go into, let's say, my notepad, if I wanted to make a new note, let's just do a text note. I have the option to type on one side of my screen, or one of my two screens. That's understandable. And you can see that I'm using Gboard instead of Microsoft SwiftKey, because I honestly just like the typing experience of Gboard more. But here's the problem. Typing with one hand, right, you either do swipe typing, that says tickling, but you either do like the swipe gestures, or you hunt and peck for like individual keys. It's not the fastest thing. And it would be nice for you to do split thumb typing, where you can type with both fingers, like this, right? And unfortunately, you just can't do that. And before anyone else asks or says, hey, Gboard has that option, or SwiftKey has that option, you're absolutely right. They do have that option, but not on the Duo. In fact, if you download the apps from a third-party site online and just sideload the APK, that option still isn't present. Same thing goes for the Microsoft launcher. And actually, on the note of other launchers, you're pretty much not going to be able to use any launchers, so forget about it for the time being. I've tried Nova Launcher, EV Launcher, Action Launcher. Somebody on Reddit said that Lawnchair works. Never used it, so your mileage may vary. But anyways, back to the keyboard experience. You're not going to be able to sideload any other APK that's going to work. Google Keyboard has other options that are just not present. Same thing goes for SwiftKey. You just can't use them. So your best bet is to do something like, if you were to get like a text message or something, and you can see me in my music discussion with a buddy, but like if you were to span something and then go full screen, you can type like this, and naturally, yes, I'm my B key and my Y key are a little screwy, but you can kind of get away with this, but that requires you having a full screened app rather than just having it on one screen. The moment you go back to one screen, you can't do it. Which I would love for that just to be an option, and I get why Microsoft tried to do it, but look at this. When you use the keyboard, this is just wasted space. They don't even make use of it. And it happens for every single app that you choose. So if I were to go into, let's say, Power Amp, this is a music app. If I were to go in here and then I text somebody, oh, it doesn't do it, okay. Maybe it's just on some things. Does it do it on here? It does. So if you use like Chrome browser, a lot of apps just have this wasted space anyway. So why not just let me do what I want to do? It's perplexing to me. And there's just a lot of instances like that Microsoft can address. But it's just a matter of, will they address it? Which is something that, maybe we'll see in a month. Because Microsoft is promising monthly updates, but I'm very skeptical on any software company saying that they're going to promise updates, because it feels like a lie. But the nice thing is that they've already put out their bootloader and their kernel, so maybe one day somebody on XDA will be our savior who will help us out. And who knows, maybe this device might be the first one that gets me into custom ROMs. Custom ROM development, not using them. I've used custom ROMs. But this thing is so open and seemingly approachable that maybe I'll give it a shot one day. Who's to say? But anywho, I think those are some of like the biggest issues with the Duo. So we have like random crashing, just general incapabilities of the device, and then some missing features. That's not to mention, some of the hanging that happens when trying to switch back and forth between screens, or when trying to span. I've had so many times where I've tried to span something and then it freezes and then it doesn't allow me to span again, or it'll span and it'll close and then it'll lock out. And it's just such random behavior that like I can't really explain. Can I go back? Okay. But with all that being said, I really love this phone. So that whole I can't I'm actually really excited, because I know I've been kind of like talking a lot of trash on this phone, but when I was using this phone, when I first unboxed it, it was the middle of the night, and I thought it was going to be a gimmick. I opened it up, I set the device up, and I went to bed thinking, oh, this is cool. Like, I'll go from screen to screen. The usability is kind of weird. And I remember opening this thing, typing on the keyboard and thinking, oh no, I'm going to hate this. But the following day, today, I was out with one of my friends, and he's opening a storefront, like a brick and mortar store, and I'm helping him with those electronics and getting him set up with like a POS and email system, security cameras, the whole 9 yards. And we were out and about just doing whatever, and then I was taking notes on one side and then writing a budget on the other screen. I was using OneNote on one and then Excel on the other. I had Google Chrome open on one hand and then his POS system on the other. I was creating email domains, so I was able to just open like his the actual domain and take all the MX tokens and then copy that, move it over to another Chrome tab, because you can actually open 2 Chrome tabs at once. So you can open up a new one and then you can do move to other window. And it's really cool. And you can see I'm trying to buy the Surface headphones because I'm interested in these. But it's a really cool concept. And there were so many times where I actively had that aha moment where I was using the device, side by side and being extra productive. I was turning this over and shooting emails in like compose mode. And, like during lunchtime, I would just have this and I could just like watch a video on the top. Which, by the way, any YouTuber, if you're watching this, if you see this, I'm usually a pretty like tolerant guy. If anybody watches a YouTube video where you span the whole side of the app, like if you do this, right? YouTube is open and you can see I'm watching a Magic the Gathering video. But like if YouTube is open and you decide to put the app sideways like this and watch it this way, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. There's no other way to put it. You're not a smart guy. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Like here's the thing. Any YouTuber watching this, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. If you have 2 monitors right now and you put a movie or even a YouTube video on both of your monitors at the same time, it doesn't look good because you're not supposed to do that. That's just how it works. Go get an ultra wide. Get a Galaxy Fold. Just saying. Anywho, sorry to rag on YouTubers, but every time I see that, like, my blood boils because it's wrong. Like, I'm sorry. I don't drink my coffee upside down. Like, I use the cup like it's supposed to be used. I use my screen as it's intended. Whatever. That being said, I'm done ragging on YouTubers here. It is nice to be able to span something in full screen and then switch it over to this. That is nice. And when you're browsing and looking at content, especially something that needs to be enlarged or like viewed in tablet mode, it's fantastic. It's great. It's just that sometimes you don't want to be doing that. But the point is that I was thoroughly expecting this to be a gimmick. I thought it was going to be something where I would get tired of it and like after a week or two, maybe, and maybe who's to say, maybe I do get tired of this after a week. But I thought that after a week or two, the novelty would wear off and I actually wouldn't be more productive. But funny enough, the opposite happened, where I was the most productive I've been in a very long time while using this device, and I don't find myself opening it and screwing around on Reddit as frequently or going on YouTube and just like watching a video. Now that being said, it is really nice for going on YouTube and Reddit at the same time. So maybe I am goofing off half as frequently, but twice as hard. Who's to say? And there is another really nice thing about this device as well, is that when you close it, you're done. And because the vibration motor is so bad, I don't feel this urge to like check my phone. And usually I wear a smartwatch, and I am still going to wear a smartwatch, and I'm going to pair it to my device, but I'm not going to use it for NFC because personally I don't care about NFC that much. I don't use I have Samsung Pay on here, and I use it from time to time, but really when I'm extra lazy, so it's not critical. But I'm really only using the smartwatch for the music controls. When I want to change songs and stuff, I'm going to disable notifications on my watch. So then when this guy's closed, I just want it to be closed. And thankfully, I'm in a fortunate position where the people who need to reach me don't need to reach me within the span of 2 minutes. So, if it takes me an extra 5 minutes, like I'm a millennial anyway, like I'm going to look at my phone at some point. So, when I get to it, I'm going to get to it. And when it's closed, I don't want to think about my phone. I don't even want to think about whatever digital aspect of my life is going on right now. And that is something that, honestly, I never thought was going to happen. And I thought I was just going to be addicted to my phone forever. And that's not the case. In fact, my phone, this Duo, and its really crazy awesome form factor, has encouraged me to start reading more. And, you know, like, I'm brushing up on some of my code knowledge again, but, like, I got to reading, like, normal everyday books. Well, not normal. This is a book on astrophysics. So maybe not normal, but, like, okay, maybe not normal. But it's really nice. Like, this is a fantastic e-reader. And Google Play Books works, which is fantastic because I'm totally not a Kindle person. But it's gotten me to do things that I wasn't planning on doing. And there's this whole concept of your phone adapting to your life and you shouldn't adapt to the phone. But honestly, adapting to this device when it's this good is okay. But here's the problem. Some people aren't willing to make that change. And you know what? For the bugs, for the price, for the feature set, I don't blame them one bit. But for me, it makes a lot of sense. And there's going to be somebody out there, especially like my last video got 1,400 views. So that means one person out of that 1,400 is going to understand what the hell I'm talking about. And they're going to watch this video and they're going to get that same confirmation bias that I got watching other people's YouTube videos. And it's going to make a lot of sense. And they're going to be really happy they got this device. And that's who this device is for. And I think I'm that person. So I'll make another video in the next couple of days. Hopefully my camera doesn't screw up again and I can take a normal video or maybe do like a car rant style video. Which, by the way, good luck using this shit in a car, bro. It is not happening. One-handed mode, two-handed mode, book mode, it doesn't matter. If this is not open in tablet mode sitting on a mount or something, you are not opening this thing without taking your hands 100% off the wheel. Just saying. Sorry. Because I tried making a car video, and I noticed that very quickly that I was not opening this device very frequently during the video. But maybe in the future, in the next couple of days, I'll have a car video, a rant video, or a vlog of some sort featuring not this camera. But, you know, we'll talk about it and we'll do more stuff. Anywho, that's been my first day impression. I'll see you all in a couple of days. I hope this video helped. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have about the Duo, let me know. I will be 100% more than happy to answer them. And I guess I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Oh, that's gross. That's MKBHD's thing, isn't it? That was so natural. That's probably why he does it. I don't know what to say now. It's been real. Peace.